Have you ever held an object from the past and felt a strange connection, a shiver down your spine, maybe? Most of the time, it's just our imagination, but what if it's not? What if certain objects, pulled from the dust of ancient civilizations, carry something with them? Something more than just history, a warning, a curse. Tonight, we're unlocking the vault on some of the world's most infamous artifacts. These aren't just museum pieces, they're legends, wrapped in tales of misfortune, madness, and death. Are they just coincidences, strung together by our love for a good story? Or did their long-dead creators imbue them with a power that defies our modern understanding? Let's turn down the lights and see if we can find out. This is the Y-Files. Our first stop is in ancient Egypt, a land obsessed with the afterlife. In 1922, Howard Carter and his team opened the tomb of Tutankhamun, the Boy King. The world was captivated, but soon after this incredible discovery, a darker story began to unfold. Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's financier, died suddenly from an infected mosquito bite. A strange coincidence, maybe, but then, the story started piling up. A power outage in Cairo at the exact moment of his death. His dog back in England, howling and dropping dead. Within a few years, several people connected to the tomb's opening met untimely ends. George J. Gould, another visitor, died of a fever. Radiologist Archibald Reed, who x-rayed the mummy, died of a mysterious illness. Carter's personal secretary, Richard Bethel, was found dead in his bed. The newspapers had a field day, screaming about the curse of the pharaohs. They pointed to an alleged inscription at the tomb's entrance: "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." Now, here's the thing. Most Egyptologists say no such inscription was ever found. They argue the deaths were statistically normal for the time, blaming poor sanitation, tropical diseases, and the stress of the excavation. Howard Carter himself, the main target of any curse, lived for another 17 years. But the legend persists. Was it a curse, a supernatural guardian? Or was it something more scientific? Some theories suggest that ancient, dormant fungi or bacteria, sealed in the tomb for millennia, could have been released, infecting those who entered. A biological booby trap, far more clever than any Hollywood curse. The official story is coincidence, but the number of strange deaths and eerie events surrounding Tut's tomb makes you wonder if something ancient and angry was truly awakened that day. Let's leave the sands of Egypt and travel to the Americas. We're looking for a man who doesn't exist. Well, he does, but he's not a man, he's a statue. The woman from Lem, also known as the goddess of death, this small limestone statuette, carved around 3500 BC in Cyprus, has a history as chilling as its nickname. It depicts a fertility goddess, but it seems to bring anything but life. Its first known modern owner was Lord Elephant. Within 6 years of acquiring the statue, he and his entire family of 7 were dead. The next owners, Ivor Monucci and his family, met the same fate. Then it was Lord Thompson Noel. He and his family also perished. That's at least 3 families wiped out. The statue was then acquired by Sir Alan Beaverbrook. Soon after, his wife and 2 daughters died. His 2 remaining sons, understandably terrified, donated the statue to the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh. Did the curse stop there? Well, the curator who handled the statue and placed it on display reportedly died within a year. Today, the goddess of death sits safely behind glass. No one is allowed to touch it. Skeptics, of course, call it a classic case of confirmation bias. People hear the story, and then every unfortunate event is linked back to the object. It's a compelling argument, a series of tragic, but unrelated, family deaths. There are no ancient texts, no warnings, just a trail of bodies. But the pattern is undeniably creepy. A simple stone figure, passed down through the ages, seemingly leaving a wake of destruction. Is it just a story we tell ourselves, or is there a dark energy attached to this ancient idol? The museum isn't taking any chances. Now for our final artifact, one you might even have a replica of without knowing its dark reputation. It's the Hope Diamond. This magnificent, 45.52 carat, deep blue diamond is one of the most famous jewels in the world. It's also said to be one of the most cursed. The legend begins in 17th century India, where a French merchant named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier supposedly stole the massive blue diamond from the eye of a statue of the Hindu goddess Sita. The story goes that as a result, he was later torn apart by wild dogs. The truth, he died of old age in his 80s, but don't let facts get in the way of a good curse. The diamond, then much larger, was sold to King Louis XIV of France. It stayed with the French royal family until the French Revolution. Its owners, King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, famously lost their heads to the guillotine. During the chaos of the Revolution, the diamond was stolen. It resurfaced in London around 1839, recut, and in the possession of the wealthy banking heir, Henry Philip Hope, which is where it got its name. The Hope family eventually fell into bankruptcy, which many attributed to the diamond's curse. The next owner was Evelyn Walsh McLean, an American mining heiress and socialite. She bought it in 1911. McLean, who often wore the diamond, suffered immense tragedy. Her young son died in a car crash, her daughter died of an overdose, and her husband left her and later died in a mental institution. McLean herself died in debt. After her death, jeweler Harry Winston acquired the diamond. He toured it around the country before donating it to the Smithsonian Institution in 1958, where it remains today. And how did he send it? Not in an armored car. He sent it through the U.S. Postal Service in a plain brown paper box. The mailman who delivered it, James Todd, reportedly suffered a series of misfortunes afterward. His leg was crushed in a truck accident, his wife died of a heart attack, and his house burned down. So, is the Hope diamond cursed? The Smithsonian, of course, says no. They dismiss the stories as hype, created to increase the stone's value and mystery. They point out that many of the stories, like Tavernier's death, are fabricated. And many owners, like Harry Winston, lived long, successful lives. Yet, the trail of tragedy, from beheaded royals to bankrupt families and grieving mothers, is hard to ignore completely. Is it the universe balancing the scales for the theft from a sacred idol? Or is it simply the dramatic and often tragic lives of the super-rich, amplified by the fame of the jewel they owned? From an Egyptian tomb to a Cypriot idol to a legendary diamond, we're left with more questions than answers. These artifacts have traveled through centuries, collecting stories, legends, and a reputation for death and disaster. The logical part of our brain tells us it's all coincidence, folklore, and the human need to find patterns in chaos. But another, older part of us whispers, what if? What if some objects absorb the energy of their past? What if the rage of a desecrated king, the wrath of a stolen god, or the grief of a tragic life can cling to stone and crystal, lashing out at those who dare to possess them? The scientists will say no, the historians will point to inaccuracies. But the stories remain, whispered in museum halls and around campfires. Maybe the real curse is our own fascination with the darkness, our desire to believe that there are things in this world that we can't explain, and that sometimes the past doesn't just want to be remembered. It wants revenge. Thanks for digging into the mystery with us. If you have a favorite cursed object we didn't cover, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unexplained. Until next time, stay curious.